You know the stinging nettle, right? It's that plant you learned to steer clear of as a kid, the one that always seems to pop up where you least want it. But what if I told you that this plant, the one known mostly for its painful sting, has a secret life? A history as a powerful medicine, a source of clothing, and even a star player in ancient fairy tales. Let's dig into the surprising story of this very common weed. So yeah, the nettle, it goes way back, even into our imagination. In that old Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, The Wild Swans, a princess has to go through the agony of weaving shirts from nettles, all without speaking a word, to save her brothers. It's this beautiful, powerful story about turning something painful into something protective. And that idea, well, it's a theme that just keeps coming up with this plant. And get this, making clothes from nettles isn't just something out of a storybook. It's real. A man named Alan Brown spent 7 years, that's right, 7, foraging wild nettles, spinning them into thread, and weaving an entire dress by hand. I mean, talk about a monumental task. It's like that fairy tale quest brought to life in our own time. The filmmaker who documented this whole incredible journey, he just nailed it with this quote. He said it was like the nettles gave him a gift, a way to transform something painful into something not just beautiful, but protective. So it all leads to this one big question. Why has this plant for literally thousands of years been seen as so much more than just a weed? Okay, so let's jump in a time machine for a minute. Way back, before we had modern pharmacies, the world outside your door was your medicine cabinet. And inside that medieval medicine cabinet, the stinging nettle wasn't just another plant. Oh no, it was a superstar, a go-to remedy for a truly mind-boggling list of problems. I mean, just look at this list pulled from actual medical texts from the time. It is staggering. They were using it for everything from dog bites and gout to fevers and even broken bones. It seems like there was almost nothing they didn't think nettle could help with. It was basically the Swiss Army knife of their medical world. And for more than 2,000 years, this was just accepted truth. This is how you treated things. But, as we moved into the age of modern science and laboratories, a huge question started to bubble up. Was all this just superstition? Folklore passed down through the generations? Or was there some real, verifiable science behind these ancient remedies? And that's exactly what is happening right now, which is so cool. We're in this amazing time where that ancient wisdom is finally being put on trial by modern science. Researchers are digging into these old texts, not just as historical artifacts, but as a potential treasure map to new medicines. And we're not just talking about one lab here. This is a whole new field of study. You have these incredible teams of what they're calling ancient biotics researchers. You've got medieval historians who can read these ancient manuscripts working right alongside microbiologists in the lab. It's this amazing crossover of expertise. And their process is super methodical. First, they pore over these ancient texts looking for patterns. What ingredients show up together all the time? How do they prepare them? Then they actually recreate these recipes, these potions, in a modern lab. And here's the kicker. They test them against the antibiotic-resistant superbugs that are a huge problem for us today. So it all comes down to this, the billion-dollar question. Were our ancestors really onto something? Did these remedies actually work, or was it all just an elaborate placebo effect? Well, as it turns out, the answer science is finding is way more interesting than a simple yes or no. All right, so what's the verdict? When these researchers put the medieval nettle remedies to the test, the results were, well, they were genuinely surprising. They uncovered a level of sophistication that, frankly, we've overlooked for a long time. Okay, you have to hear this. One of the things they tested was a really common medieval treatment for wounds, just nettles soaked in vinegar. At first, it looked like a bust. The nettle plant itself, no antibacterial properties. But, and this is the twist, the nettle acts like a perfect natural sponge. It soaks up the vinegar, which is antibacterial, and delivers it right into the wound, holding it there. The nettle wasn't the medicine, it was the perfect delivery system. How smart is that? And the research also showed that how you prepare the remedy is everything. The medieval texts would often say to mix nettles with fats, like butter or oil. Today, science calls these lipophilic extracts. And it turns out these fat-based preps are way better at pulling out the plant's anti-inflammatory compounds. Our ancestors knew, without the fancy terms, that the recipe really, really mattered. So while that huge medieval list might not all check out, modern clinical trials have confirmed some seriously powerful uses for nettle. Today, it's used in treatments for things like an enlarged prostate, it helps with arthritis and other inflammatory issues, and it can even help with hay fever. So science isn't throwing out the old knowledge, it's refining it. And that just perfectly highlights the incredible length of this relationship. For over 2,000 years, people have been turning to this one plant for help and for healing. That's a tradition that stretches all the way from the Roman Empire right into the pharmacy you might visit today. So, when you pull all of these different threads together, you start to see that the stinging nettle is just this amazing plant of contradictions. It's a menace, sure, but it's also a medicine, a food source, and even a fashion statement. On the one hand, you've got the menace, right? The painful stings we all know, its reputation as just a common weed, and even being called a dangerous plant in old stories. But then, on the other hand, you have the marvel. It's incredibly nutritious food, it's a source of super strong fiber for clothes, and it's a potent medicine. It's both things, all at once. When it comes right down to it, this humble, prickly plant has been woven into human history for an incredibly long time. Research confirms that people have been using it for food, for medicine, and for making cloth all the way back to the Neolithic period. It's been our constant, if sometimes painful, companion through the ages. And all of this leaves you with one final thought. We've just gone on this deep dive into the complex history of a plant most of us just try to avoid. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In our world of high-tech marvels, what other ancient wisdom, what other powerful secrets are just hiding out there in plain sight? Maybe even in the weeds in your own backyard?